Hey everyone, so I have a very fun video to show y'all, and that is going to be talking about an older perm technique. I had a very nice subscriber comment, and they asked what the Lotion Wrap technique was, and wanted to know more about it because it's actually something that I learned recently from an awesome woman named Marianne. Huge shout out to Marianne, you are awesome, and I want to thank you for your many years dedicated to the beauty industry, changing lives, making people feel better, making excellent recommendations at Sally Beauty Supply. Now locally, she used to work at Sally Beauty Supply. She has since retired, but she's still involved in the beauty industry one way or the other. She has many years of experience, and she was the one that taught me about perming and the history of, hair coloring and what they had back in the day. And it's just great because there's so much that we can learn from these stylists that have been in the industry for so long. You can get ideas from them and get inspired to kind of modernize some of the techniques. Or it can help you save money because a lot of the times when we're in this industry, all the marketing that gets thrown at us and, new products which really aren't new, just kind of like a fancy play on the science that we already know, you can save money that way. So Marianne, she actually taught me how to use a lotion wrap. And what a lotion wrap is that if you have super resistant hair, it was a technique that was done back in the day. You would actually take the hair, wrap it when the hair is dry. Here's a basic perm wrap. I used a combination of blue rods, pink rods, and gray rods at the bottom. So you're gonna get more curl up top, and it kind of graduates into a more natural flow as opposed to all one color. Now you can do this, you just want to make sure that you are being consistent with the sizing, and there's usually a size chart. So one of the cool things with this is that the hair is wrapped completely dry. The hair is not wet, it is not dripping. Now one of the issues I want to say on top is that if you have color treated hair, and especially blonde double processed hair, this is most likely not the best technique for you, and I'll explain why. So typically with the perm, you clarify the hair, and then you wrap the hair when it is damp. You don't want the hair super wet where it's dripping and sloshing all over, so when you go to put the solution on, the solution doesn't penetrate. Again, think of like a wet sponge. You need a slightly damp sponge to absorb water. If your sponge is bone dry, it won't absorb correctly. So you might need a little bit more product because the hair is going to be absorbing the product. So you also want to then think, what solution am I going to be using? Now let's say, this client, I'm gonna give her a creative name. I'm gonna call her Medusa because I want like super tight, kinky curls. So she wants this, crazy, funky, vintage kind of look, or maybe she just wants a tight curl. So she comes in here and Medusa goes, my hair doesn't take perms, and let's say she has virgin hair. We've cut out all the old hair. So she was explaining how the stylist was water wrapping her hair. I would ask her, hey, what did they do? Oh, they shampooed my hair and this and that. So what we could try is, you would want to then take a perm, and I'm going to be using either one of these. I'm going to be using the regular. I'm going to be doing another mannequin for tinted hair, and this is Design Freedom from Zotos. There is regular and tinted. There's even another version they have. It's like a blue box. And Design Freedom is it's an alkaline perm, and what they do is they call it Design Freedom because you have the opportunity. You can either water wrap or lotion wrap. So when you're lotion wrapping, and I think I might have messed up at the beginning of this video. If I didn't say lotion wrap, it should be lotion wrap, not water wrap. What lotion wrap is you're wrapping the hair dry and you're just putting on lotion. The old school way too is if you're using a true acid wave, which is really hard to find because I don't find them. They're like the pH of 4.5. They don't work as well, but what you can do is actually as you're wrapping, squirt a little lotion on, wrap, and then secure. Because the waving lotion in a true acid wave will not start processing. In this type of perm, because Design Freedom is an alkaline perm, and they have the regular, which is alkaline perm for normal, resistant, or gray hair, it produces a firm curl. They also have the tinted one, which is an alkaline perm for tinted hair. And with the tinted one, it's up to 20 volume, and it gives you flexibility. You could water wrap for delicate hair or for softer, more open curl. You could also lotion wrap for thick, resistant hair or for firm, defined curls. No test curl and no dryer heat is required. It also uses what they call a GFE enriched neutralizer. So it's kind of a marketing technique. Again, neutralizer is neutralizer. It's peroxide. Don't get so tripped up on this. For the most part, most perms you can lotion or water wrap with. Again, read the manufacturer's instructions. If you feel too nervous, make sure then you get the one that says it. But this is just to give you an idea when shopping. You get this at Sally for a cheap price. Again, I want to teach you all how to save money and not break the bank. So this will produce a firm curl. And I just want to say that when you are working, especially color treated hair, so like let's say the client has a few, 20 volume, you don't want to be using this on 30, 40 volume, you need a whole different perm for that. I would still check. I know it says test curl not required, but I am very skeptical on that because I find for the most part, if you don't test curl, you can run the risk of overprocessing. And again, this is not a one size fits all. If you truly know that your client's hair is resistant, and let's say it's resistant gray especially, that hair tends to take a little bit longer. So what I always say is check. If you go a little bit above the processing time, let's say you check, 20 minutes is the recommended time, and she's still not ready, guess what? Leave it on longer. I have another technique that you can do. Get a warm, wet towel, cup it on that one area that's not ready, and that will speed up the processing time. Check in 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, once you get that the S shape and it starts to, you see that roping, that's when you want to immediately start rinsing. If you overprocess a perm, you're not going to get any curlier hair. You're either going to get straight hair or frizzy hair. So if the client says, well, my perm didn't take, it could be that you overprocessed, could also be that you underprocessed. That's when you want to have the client come in, have her come in and do a full-on assessment. The other important thing to remember is that if you do overprocess in a bad way, it can look super curly. And then when she shampoos her hair, she's going to have clumps of hair just come off, fistfuls of it. It's going to go limp. And that's when the phone of death is going to ring. And that's going to be that one phone call that you can hear that client yelling from 2 yards away. So the other option too, let's say you want really, really firm curls. You could use an exothermic perm. One of the ones by Zotos is Feel So Lively. They also have Quantum, which has an exothermic perm. And what this does is this is exothermic, so it makes its own heat. You add an activator, which is actually peroxide, believe it or not. When you're doing an exothermic reaction for a perm, you have waving lotion, which is ammonium thioglycolate usually. They also have other chemicals. We'll talk about that later. Actually, no, I'll talk about it here. In a perm that is ammonia-free, you're using a different chemical. It's more toxic to the hair. It's called MEA. If the perm is thio-free is better, but make sure there's still ammonia in there. You don't want ammonia and thio-free because the ammonia-free, they use MEA, and that ingredient is very toxic to the hair. It doesn't leave the hair, it builds up. It actually smells worse, in my opinion. You tend to get used to these smells. You'll find that the exothermic and the cold wave perms tend to smell like ammonia, and then the acid balance or the acid perm that use GMTG, glycerol monothioglycolate, they smell like rotten eggs, so you kind of figure that out quickly. The thio-free kind of smells like chicken noodle soup gone bad because it's a protein base. So again, let's say your client, the keyword is, she says, I want, super firm, super tight curls. I would go with an exothermic. But if she says, I just want strong curls and, maybe she's worried about it being too tight, what you could do is just drop down to Design Freedom, which gives you a firm option. So you have all these choices. Again, this is a trial and error. You can always, lotion wrap with Design Freedom. And if she says, I want it a little bit tighter, wrap the same pattern and then just change one thing and then go to the exothermic. Exothermic tends to process a lot quicker because of the added heat. Remember, it's anytime you have thio and you add peroxide in, it creates a chemical reaction, which is going to heat up everything. It's going to feel relaxing to the client. You're going to put the cap on her. Her own body heat is going to further increase that, and that heat is what's really going to make the firmness last. Now, let's say you can't get this. Another option, lotion wrap, warm towel. That will add a little bit of extra heat to kind of, I don't want to say rough it up, but kind of just accelerate it a little bit. So the other cool thing I want to mention is that you can also they do have perms in the market. Like let's say you do a lotion wrap and you're using a Warm and Gentle, which is another one. They have a exothermic neutralizer, but I want to caution you on that because neutralizer is peroxide. So if you think scientifically, if an exothermic perm uses waving lotion and a little bit of peroxide to make heat, then neutralizer is going to be a ton of peroxide and a little bit of either waving lotion, or they use another ingredient called MEA. It's the ammonia-free ingredient. If you have a perm that says exothermic neutralizer and you read MEA, omit that because that's actually what's going to cause damage. Just do regular neutralization, and if their client is worried about feeling uncomfortable because neutralizer is cold, take some warm water and just put your bottle neutralizer in there. It will heat it up and it will be a lot more comfortable for your client. All these little tips and techniques that I, just being in the industry, I've learned over the years. I've had a wonderful cosmetology teacher who taught me all these, different rules while I was in school, and, following up with her, she is a wealth of information and a true mentor to me, and I could not be any more grateful for that. So again, I'm gonna be perming this mannequin. Y'all have seen me put perm solution on. It's really no big deal. You just go 1, 2, rock on the rod, lift up underneath. Some people take it and they shoot it inside. I'm not really a big fan of that because it just creates a mess. Do through 3 swipes across, and then if you see that there is not a glazed look on the hair, you want to apply a little bit more. If you see a slight drip, that's when you want to stop applying. You don't want to apply so much that it just drips everywhere. Know that when you apply, I always apply from the back, have the client put her head down like that, apply down here, work your way up, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to apply the solution, I'm going to process, I'm going to come back when she is all permed to show you what a lotion wrap looks like. So lotion wrap is a great technique, and I hope that y'all can find creative ways to use it. It's great for hair that is super resistant and you don't either have a resistant perm solution or you tried everything else. Just make sure you might need a little bit extra perm solution because think of the hair like a dry sponge. You really need to saturate it, and that could be an issue for super long hair. When the hair is damp, it kind of distributes a solution easily, but the water might dilute it down a little bit. So I'll see y'all in a little bit. Hey y'all, so this is the finished result of the Lotion Wrap Perm, and as you can see, my client, who I called Medusa before, is really rocking. She kind of has that Medusa look and I love it. I love doing curls and creating curls, and I always love it when you get to do the super tight rods on the long hair, which you do have to be careful because if the hair is uneven, it might buckle or can get snagged in there, and you don't want to rip the hair or tug on the hair. I'm going to give this mannequin a haircut because I pre-cut the mannequin to make the hair even, but these mannequins, I don't know what they treated them with. I think there might have been metallic dye in there, which I was a little worried on. Curls came out perfect. Because when I put the perm solution on, it started turning a weird funky purple color, and I'm like, oh, please don't start boiling, please don't start boiling. Because one of the things that can happen is if you perm on metallic hair color, the hair can appear to boil from the inside out, and it might also smoke, but there was none of that. Didn't get warm either, that was another good thing. I permed the hair with Zotos Design Freedom, the regular formula, which gives you firm curls. And these are what firm curls look like. They are super springy, super resilient. Look, I just pull like that. They go right back. I can go and brush it. They're gonna return to their curly form. And now if some client gets a perm like this, it's important to talk about maintenance. So this was a lotion wrap perm. I ended up having to use 2 boxes. I had a spare box that I used because look, the hair wasn't pre-wet. When I talked about that example of a wet sponge or a damp sponge, you don't want a soaking wet sponge and you don't want a bone dry sponge. It's ideal for porosity, especially in clients that have tinted hair or bleached hair, to have clean, slightly damp hair to perm on. This mannequin was pre-cleaned before and just dried. The lotion wrap is a little bit more difficult because I had to really make sure I'm getting each rod saturated. I did 3 swipes on each rod, and then I had to go back because the hair kept absorbing it in to go do another swipe with another bottle of perm solution. And then when I got that nice glossy look on it, I'm like, all right, I know I've put enough solution and saturated enough. So I did blue rods up top, and because I didn't have enough blue rods, I did peach rods, or not peach rods, pink rods underneath. It's a next size down. And because she was longer on the bottom, I used the gray rods, which is the next size below a pink rod. So I gave the illusion of some graduation. I gave the illusion of some natural texture because on natural hair, you might have some different curl patterns throughout the head, and as the hair grows out, it tends to be a little bit looser. So this is the result of the lotion wrap technique. I will say that I have never in my... So I've been doing hair for about 10 years, a little over 10 years, 11 years now. My 11 years or so doing hair, I have never once did a lotion wrap perm, but I am super blessed that my cosmetology buddy Marianne taught me about it. I think that it is something we can do, especially if you have that one client who either you've tried to perm time and time again and her hair wouldn't take, or she told you that, hey, you know, I've done perms, I really want this perm to last. You never want to then say, oh, I'll promise you I can get this. What you want to say is, well, you know, for my research, I think that this one thing might work. You just change one thing. So then you use the same perm solution she's always been doing. You then decide to lotion wrap her, and then you really check for that S shape. Because then sometimes on that baby fine hair, that hair is so quick to overprocess. Even if the box says no test curl required, do not use the maximum time as a maximum time. You keep checking. If you check every 5 minutes, I know it's a pain in the rear end, but guess what? If you can write that in the card, the next time you might have a better idea. If your hair OCD like I am, where you have to check to make sure it doesn't overprocess, that's even better because you're covering your bases and you're making money in your pocket. Your client's gonna be tipping you a lot because she cares that you checked her hair and that you took the time to really treat her well. Again, I'll be covering, you know, business in another episode, but if you look too, because this is a basic perm wrap, you wanna be careful of this because sometimes you might actually see the lines of where the perm rods are wrapped. In this case, you might want to do stabilizers to prevent that, or just really massage the scalp. This is not a human, this is a mannequin, so the mannequins tend to look like that and it becomes an eyesore. Shampoo it a few times. And if you can even take a mannequin where you test out different rod sizes, they're good tools. I call it like a curl swatch or even wefts. And you can show a client, say, pick the curl that you like. Do you like this one? Is this more of the curl you're talking about? Because her version of a firm curl might be the blue rods up top where it's super, you know, firm and curly. Like, look at that. Those are like perfect corkscrew curls. That looks like natural. Or her version might be more of a looser gray rod where it's still a really, you know, really curly, but not as super tight. Also be mindful if the hair is super long, you might have to do a piggyback wrap because the solution might not penetrate, or you might wrap too much hair in the rod that you might not get saturation and you might get uneven curls or breakage. So these are all things to consider, but the lotion wrap, great technique for creating super firm, super defined, super strong curls that ain't gonna go nowhere. I would even argue that this is ultra firm instead of firm curls because I can't imagine them getting any tighter than this. Great for resistant hair. But anyhow, this is it for this video. Let me know if y'all like the lotion wrap technique, and I'll just give a quick spin around to show y'all what the result looked like. Really strong curls. Styling wise, I always do moisturizers. Curls love moisture. They sop it up, so I did moisturizing leave-in product. I did a little bit of silicone to seal that cuticle up. That will also help the hair seal. And the box says to not shampoo for, I believe it was 48 hours. Some boxes say 24. I always say do at least 2 to 3 days. And I say if you can go 3 days or a little bit longer, that's even better because that might lock that perm into place. The other issue is you might get a slight hint of perm smell, especially when the hair gets wet. So if your client walks out and it rains, you know, she might freak out. If it gets a little bit wet, that's fine as long as she doesn't shampoo. The reason why manufacturers say that is especially with the older school perms back in the day, if you were to go and shampoo, you would rearrange all those bonds that you just broke and you wouldn't have a lovely strong perm like this. You would end up with dry, damaged hair because you would take all the perm out. So make sure you tell your client the maintenance. She doesn't want to be aggressively brushing it, treat it gentle. You know, if she feels like it's getting greasy after 2 days, then she usually can shampoo, but if she can at least get 3 days worth of not rinsing, it's even better for the hair. So that is it for this. Also, using the right products, make sure they're using pH balanced products that are acidic. pH balance to the hair and scalp, which is a 4.5 to a 5.5. There's a whole series of products that have them on the bottle, but that can make or break your client's hair. A lot of these big name brands, even pro brands, they're not pH balanced to the hair and scalp and can do more harm than good. But anyhow, this is the lotion wrap technique. Let me know if y'all like the lotion wrap technique down below. Let me know if I have any professionals who have ever done the lotion wrap technique, or you might want to start after this. It's a great technique, and it's especially great on you know, the older ladies that come in and they want a perm and perm isn't took, and you've had every perm that is known to man and you've tried every technique. It might make the whole difference in this. And if you also, I always say do a clarifying treatment, do a Get Pure treatment. Do that treatment if you're doing a lotion wrap technique because you want to get all minerals or metals out. Then if you want to do lotion wrap, go ahead, go back in and just dry it gently. Get the hair nice and dry, wrap the hair when it's dry, and do the lotion wrap. So please like, comment, hit that subscribe button down below, share this video so I can get some more views. Again, you know, I'm super grateful for my fan base that has allowed me to continue to grow and continue this journey on YouTube. So have a wonderful summer, stay safe, and if y'all are doing perms, test out the lotion wrap technique.